Hello everyone, welcome to Island Digital Class. My name is Steven. I want to use this medium to appreciate those that already subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the likes, for the comments, and for taking your time as well to share my video for your loved one to learn on your social media platform. I'm so grateful for that. And please, if you are watching this video now, please kindly hit the subscribe button and don't forget as well to hit on the notification button so that anytime I create a video like this, you'll be the first person to get the notification. So few days ago I started a series on this channel. That is how you can create a computer-based test in JavaScript. So it's a web application. So this will be the fifth video that I'm going to release on this particular project, on this particular web application we are trying to create. And please, if you've not yet seen the previous video, please kindly go and watch the previous video. I'm going to drop the link to those previous videos to the description so that you'll be able to follow along with this tutorial. So without any further ado, so last time on this particular series, I tried to explain to us, I tried to show us how we can display question and choices from our array to the user. So today we are going to proceed now. So what do you want to do today? Let me really go back into my browser, and okay, as you can see, we are able to to display our question, and we are able to display the options here. So what we want to do today is that we want to make this next button to work, so that anytime once the user answered the question here and click the next button, we want to display the next question here together with the option. So that's the next thing we want to do. I want to do the previous button as well, so that anytime the previous button is being clicked, it's going to take the user back to the previous question. So let's get started now. So let's get started. So this is the function. This is the next question is the function we are going to create for our next button. So now to get started, so we are going to come here and say index now. So say index plus plus. So what are we trying to do is that we are trying to anytime the next button is clicked, we are trying to increase the value of index. So where is this index coming from? Let me scroll up and to show us where this index is coming from, because we've already defined the value of index. We've set the value to 0 already. So anytime the next button is now clicked, it's going to increase the value of that index. So that is what I'm trying to do here, to increase the value of index anytime the next button is clicked. And let me show us where I want to show us something now. So anytime the next button is clicked, we've already defined, okay, this is it. So this is next button here. So we've gotten the ID of this next button inside our JavaScript. We've already assigned an ID in our HTML to this, and we've gotten this next button ID in our JavaScript. So we're now trying to say that, okay, anytime this next button is clicked, we are listening to an event click, and the function should run is the next question. So what are we now trying to do? We are trying to define a function for this next question here. So that is what we are trying to do down here. Okay, let's proceed now. So that's what we're trying to do. So what is the next thing we have to do is that we have to come here and have this dollar sign. So we need to display the next button. So we're gonna say from 1. So what is the ID? Since we are grabbing an ID now this time around, and don't forget this ID. Let me show us where this ID is coming from. Let's go into inside our let's go inside our HTML. So let me quickly search for from 1 so that you'll be able to see where it's coming from. Okay, this is it. So this is where it's coming from. So we are trying to anytime the next button is clicked, so we are trying to display our question inside this form 1. That is, the next question should be displayed inside this form. So that is what we are trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do here. So let's proceed now. So this is the ID. I've gotten the ID. So we're gonna say that dot fade out. So I just want to add a little effect to how our question will be displayed once the next button is clicked. So that's what I'm trying to do here. 0. Then we have say function now. Okay. So we have function here. So right down here, we are going to say variable show now. Variable show, that is we want to display our question, so we have to call the show question function here. Okay, so we need to call the show function show question function here. So then what's the next thing we have to do? Then we have to come here and give and assign an attribute. We're gonna say this, okay, dot attribute now. dot attributes. Then that will be, we're gonna say inner HTML now. Inner HTML. Then we have show. Okay, we have show. That is, it's going to display the next question. Don't forget, we've already assigned show. We say show is equal, variable show is equal to show question. And don't forget, this show question is the one displaying our question and our and the options. So that's what we're trying to do. That anytime the next button is clicked, so we want to show the next question, we want to display the next question. So I'm trying to add a little effect to it, how the next question is going to show. So I'm gonna say dot fade in now. Dot fade in. Then we put 300 here. Okay. So what's the next thing we want to do now? Okay. So we have to. Okay, come here. So I want to make sure that I want to hide the previous button in the first question. So that's what I'm trying to do here now. So we're gonna say that the next thing we have to do is say documents. Okay, documents dot query selector now. Document dot query selector. So what is the ID for the previous button now? The ID for the previous button is previous button. We're gonna say dot style. Okay. Dot style dot display we set the display is equals to none. Okay, we set the display to block, right? Sorry, we want to show it. Set the display to block. Okay, beautiful. So that's all we need to do here. So let me save now, and let's go back into our browser now. Let me reload here. Okay, so let me input my username to be Steven and click start exam. So let me choose an answer here. Oh, I'm getting an error here saying E is not defined at line 197. Let's go and check that out. What is happening in line 197? Okay, variable. Oh, okay, we need to pass E here as a parameter. That's why I said E is not defined. So let's pass E here as a parameter. So let's save now and let's go back. That error should disappear. So let's try to reload once again. Sorry for that. Okay, so let's input my username as start exam. Okay, let me choose. Okay, the error is gone now. So let me click the next button. As you can see, our next button is working fine, but we are getting an error saying cannot read style of none. Okay, let's see. I think this is where the error is coming from. Document dot query selector previous button. Let me see, what are we missing here? I think the ID document dot query selector. Oh, okay, we need to put, since an ID, we need to push the hash symbol here. Sorry. So since an ID, we need to put the hash symbol. If it's a class we are trying to get from our HTML, we put dots, but it's an ID this time around, so we put this symbol there. So let's go back again and reload. I'm sorry for this just this common mistake. So okay, let's input my username, start exam now this time around. Let me click next. Okay, beautiful. As you can see, we are able to go to the next question and we are able to display our previous button here. So the previous button is not working anyway. So if I click next, we'll go to our next question. If I click next, we'll go to our next question. So let's try to define the function now for our previous button. So previous button is kind of similar to this, but let me just copy all this here. Let me copy this for the sake of time and paste it down here. Okay, so I just need to make some changes here, and we want to decrease now. We need to decrease anytime the previous button is clicked. We want to decrease the value of index. So what do we have to do next is that okay, the next thing we have to do is that okay, let me remove this here now. Let me remove this. So from here, so let me check index. Okay, let me save. Everything should be working fine. Everything should be working fine. So let me click. Let me reload now. So that's all we need to do for our previous button. So start exam. Okay. Next. Okay. Next. Okay. Let me try the previous button now. Beautiful. We have the previous button working now. So okay, the previous button is working. Oh, that is an error now. Now the issue we are having here is that now if what I'm trying to do here is that if the first question, if the user is trying to answer the first question, we don't want to see this previous button because it's going to crash our app, because there is no the first question shouldn't have this previous button, because if paraventure the user click this previous button, it's going to crash the app because there is no previous question in the first question. So that is what happens here now. So let me show us again. Let me reload again, and let me show us what I'm trying to do here. Go back again. So by default the previous button is hidden here, so we are not showing the previous question. Okay, so the previous button rather. So let me click next. Okay, let me click next now, and let me go back now. Previous. Okay, go back to previous. So this is the first question, so we shouldn't be having this previous button here, because if the user click this previous button, is going to affect the web application that we are trying to create. So what we want to do now is that we want to hide the previous button in the first question. So under no condition should this previous button show once the user is on the first question. So now how are we going to do that? So we have to give a condition here. Let's come down here and give a condition saying if index, okay, if index is equals to 1, then we need to hide. Okay, we need to okay, let me give space that here. Okay, so we need to hide. We're gonna say document now, documents dot query selector. We need to hide the previous button, document dot query selector. Then what is the ID for previous button? We say previous button dot style. Okay, dot style dot display. We set the display to none, is equals to none. So that's how we need to hide the previous button. So we are trying to say that if the index, that is if we are on the first question, we want to hide the previous button. So let's check it out now and see if the previous button is hidden now with the that line of code we just write now. Okay, so let me input my username Steven and start exam. Okay, next button. So let me click next button, and let me go back now to the previous question. So once we get to the first question, as you can see, we can no longer find the previous button. But there is something I noticed now. If I answer this question and I go to the next question, and once I go back again, the answer that I chose disappears. So what I want is that if the user answered the question and pressed next, by the time he pressed the previous, maybe he wants to make a changes. By the time he pressed the previous button, the answer the user should I want the answer to be checked. I want this radio button to be checked. So that's what I'm trying to do now. So let me see again. Press next. Okay, press next. Let me go back to previous. You see, the answer I chose the other time has disappeared. So we want to retain that answer there. So let's go back to our code and let's see what is happening. So for us to know what is happening, let's go back to our show question function, because that is where everything is happening. So let's come down here and see if stored answer. There was a variable ID is equals to store. Oh, I'm sorry. This place should be stored answer. This place should be stored answer. I think that is why we are not having, because this is where we are trying to make sure that anytime the previous button is clicked, if paraventure the user has answered the question, once the previous button is clicked, we still want to retain that check the radio button. So let's save now and let's go back into our browser and let me reload now. Okay, so let me input a username start exam. Okay, so let me click and answer. So let me click the previous button. As you can see now, we have the answer still checked. Beautiful. We have the answer still checked. Let me go back to previous. You see, we have it still checked there. Let me go back to, you see, we have it still checked. So everything is working fine now. So we are able to define a function for our next button and for our previous button. So the next thing we need to do now is that we need to show score now. We need to define the function for show score. So I'm going to stop here because we have some code, much code to write in this show score. So because inside this show score, that's where we are going to display our timer. That is where we are going to show the score in percentage. That is where, we have a lot of things to write in this show score. So, and I don't really like making a long video so that you will not get bored at the end of the day. So I'm going to stop here. So, but at least I know you've learned one or two things today. We've been able to make our previous button to work, and our next button we've been able to write the function for them to be able to go to the next question and to go to the previous question. So I believe we learn one or two things today. So in my next video, we'll focus, and that's should be the I think that should be the last video on this particular series. So before I move to the other projects that I really want us to work on. So this is how I'm going to stop today. So in my next video, I'll be working on how we can display question, how we can show score, how we can set the timer and the likes. So thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. And please, if you know you've learned one or two things today, please, as a payback, if you really enjoy my teaching, kindly hit the subscribe button. So thank you as you're doing that. So I'm going to end this video here. So thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. I'm still your host, I'm still your friend, I'm still your brother, Steven. Thank you.